Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price and RSI are both cooling off while maintaining the short-term bullish trend, the same as Ethereum in the short term, which I'll be talking more about later in this video, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update on the weekly Bitcoin chart. And right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is still playing out this massive bullish divergence here on the weekly time frame. And now, obviously, for those of you who have been watching my videos over the last few months, you'll know that I've been talking about this massive bullish divergence ever since it began forming around 1 to 2 months ago with that $15,500 low. And so far, since that low, it's been around 1.5 months worth of mostly sideways price action visible here on the weekly time frame, which is one of the most likely outcomes for a bullish divergence. Because as most of you probably know by now, a bullish divergence simply tells us that we're due to see reduced bearish momentum, so basically a pause from the larger bearish trend. And typically divergences visible on the weekly time frame play out over at least multiple weeks, but usually multiple months. And once again, it's already been around 1.5 months worth of this bullish divergence playing out, so basically a pause from the bear market trend. But this pause from the larger downtrend could potentially continue over the next 1 month or so based on this larger bullish divergence still in play. But anyway, this is all talking about the much larger moves visible on the weekly time frame, obviously. But if you zoom into the smaller time frames like the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we have even smaller bearish and bullish trends visible on the shorter term timeframes. And clearly right now, as we've been seeing over the last few days, currently the price of Bitcoin is in a short-term bullish trend, the same as the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. But right now, like I mentioned yesterday, the price of Bitcoin is still running into this resistance, which is sitting at around 16.9k, which is the top of this range of resistance right here. So when it comes to immediate short-term risks for the price of Bitcoin, 16.9k resistance is the first risk in the immediate short term for the price of Bitcoin. That's basically the first obstacle that Bitcoin needs to break above if we are to continue any higher. But technically speaking, despite the fact that Bitcoin is running into some short-term resistance, in terms of the trend right now here in the short term, we're still looking more bullish than bearish because we're yet to actually confirm a bearish cross in the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD. And once again, the Bitcoin price and RSI are still both forming higher lows and higher highs here on the 4-hour time frame. And now if the price of Bitcoin gets a short-term rejection from this 16.9k level of resistance and comes down and then bounces back up something like this, then we have the potential to form a cup and handle pattern, which is technically a bullish pattern if it completes and breaks out above 16.9k. But obviously I want to make it clear that as of right now, that is not a confirmed pattern. It's just a pattern that could potentially form over the coming days and one to pay attention to if we do end up seeing a bit more of a rejection. And if you zoom into the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, we've seen a nice short-term cool-off over the last 1 day or so, where the price has basically been chopping around sideways with a very slight pullback. And like I said in my last video, this is enough to help reset the RSI back down towards neutral levels, which is exactly what has happened here on the 2-hour time frame over the last 1 day. And in fact, we've seen another perfect bounce from this ascending line of support in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI. So as of right now, while this support remains to be held by the RSI, we are technically still looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the short-term trend. So this short-term bullish trend right now is not yet broken. We are simply just seeing a short-term cool-off because the price got a little bit too overheated here with the RSI entering into overbought territories. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is also experiencing a short-term cool-off in the form of choppy sideways price action over the last 1 day. And once again, like I mentioned in my last video, choppy sideways price action can help reset the RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which is exactly what has been happening over the last 1 day. Now, technically, we still have some more room to the downside to go before the RSI actually resets back down towards neutral levels, but at least as of right now, the 4-hour Ethereum RSI is no longer in those overbought territories, which is technically a good sign for the short-term bullish trend, because if we stay in overbought territories for too long, then that is a sign that the trend is becoming way too overheated and we're potentially due for a larger correction. But if we see these minor cool-offs along the way to help reset the RSI along the way, then we can create a more sustainable bullish trend. And just staying on the 4-hour time frame, but zooming in a little bit closer, we can clearly see this ascending line of support in the 4-hour Ethereum RSI is still intact. We have not broken below this line of support, which technically means, once again, based on the RSI, we are still looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the trend here. We're just in a short-term cool-off within the short-term bullish trend, kind of like what we saw just here. And as for support and resistance, technically speaking, this previous range of resistance should now be acting as new support for the price of ETH here in the short term, and this range is coming into play in between around 12.20 up to around 12.30. So once again, that should now be acting as new support. And as for resistance, we still have this area of resistance starting at around 12.80, going up towards around 13.20 to 13.30. But like I said in my last video, if you want to know more specific levels of resistance, we do have more specific resistance at around 1.3k based on these previous highs right here. And if you bring out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this swing high down to this swing low, we have the golden pocket level of resistance sitting at pretty much exactly 1270. So the immediate level of resistance to pay attention to here in the shorter term, once again, is at around 1270 to 1280, with support starting at around 1230. And as for the most likely outcome in the short term, potentially over the next one day, we're most likely going to continue to see a bit more of a short-term cool-off because, like I said, the RSI is still relatively high up. But just as long as it doesn't break this ascending line of support, we are still looking bullish for the trend. So once again, we could continue to see a bit more sideways price action over the next one day or so before potentially continuing higher later on, unless we see some bearish confirmation signals which are not yet in play. So essentially, in the short term, right now, I am remaining neutral to bullish here in the short term. But believe it or not, whether the price goes to the upside, to the downside, or simply chops around sideways, there are ways to make money in crypto no matter what. And if you want to know how to do that, then check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left is a complete step-by-step tutorial showing you how to trade crypto with and without leverage. And the video in the bottom left is a tutorial showing you how to make money in crypto if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.